What about now? Any audio coming through now? How about now? Hello? Okay, I'm going to wait just a second. Was that the magic trick? I see yeses. Got it. Yes, yes. Whew. You guys are the real MVPs. Thank you for that patience and thank you for working with me in the question box. I really appreciate it. Now the pressure is on to deliver an excellent show for everybody. So buckle up. Let's get going. I think we have officially gotten our use out of the question box. Everybody feels good about it. Let's roll. Okay, a few housekeeping items. So I see a couple of you telling me that you cannot chat into the chat box. That is totally fine. That's normal. So what we use during our webinars for chat is the question box. That's how I was able to see all of my new favorite people letting me know if they could or couldn't hear me. So I really appreciate everybody doing that. So if you can't use the chat box, no worries, find the question box, and that is how I'll be able to see your messages. You won't be able to talk back and forth with each other, but that's how you'll be able to talk to me. All right. So for everyone who missed the first few minutes, one, you didn't miss much. Two, everything's going to be recorded today. So it will be sent to your inboxes later on. No need to take notes or scramble around to try to get everything that I'm saying. Everything's going to be recorded and uploaded to Local IQ and WordStream YouTube channels. So if you want to run it back, all the materials are going to be there or they're going to be emailed to you. So let's go through just a couple of other things. If you need to find our webinars later, you can go to Local IQ or WordStream's YouTube channels. You'll just type in Local IQ or WordStream into YouTube. You'll go to our channels, and then there should be a section for videos, and you'll see all of our past webinars there, so you can catch up on anything from today or any of our past information. And then the reason why I love having you guys get used to the question box is because that's how we're going to handle our Q&A later in the presentation. So, and if you've attended any of our work in the past, then you know our Q&A sessions can be a lot of fun because it feels like it's a one-to-one environment. So that's what makes it really unique. So be sure to save your questions for later, and we'll be able to get to them towards the end of the presentation. All right, so some of you may have attended our webinars in the past, and then some of you may already be working with us as Local IQ, or you may be familiar with our thought leadership brand, WordStream. So really, no matter how you got to us, we're just happy that you're here, and we want to welcome you and get everyone on the same page about what Local IQ is, what it is that we do. So to put it simply, Local IQ is how businesses like yours attract and retain the ideal customers. That's it in a nutshell. We do it through a digital platform that supports vertical data from over 5 million campaigns. Our marketing experts take a personalized approach and they truly get to know your industry. I have been at this company for 11 years now. I know all of these people personally, and I can tell you that they get very involved in their customers and their customer success. So then we are able to get you a step ahead because our platform is AI powered. It allows for lead management and then faster follow-up and conversion. And then one more thing that we're really proud of is that we are a trusted premier partner for all major advertising platforms that are recognized for our commitment to driving innovation in marketing and growth for our customers. So each of these badges and awards represents every major publisher and recognition from industry peers. And it's not just something that's granted to any marketing platform out there. It's really only given to businesses that display clear campaign success for their customers, display thought leadership within the field, and meet a rigorous set of requirements for each platform. All right, so that's a little bit about Local IQ. Let me tell you a little bit about me. I am Katie. I'll be your webinar host and facilitator today. Here at Local IQ, I work closely with our teams on our own digital marketing. And for the last, like I said, 11 years, I've worked in one capacity or another, equipping sales teams, agencies, and individual business owners with whatever they need to succeed. And if you couldn't tell by my accent, I am located in the southern US. I'm in Louisiana, but I always like to tell people I'm not from the fun part of Louisiana. I'm about 5 hours north of New Orleans, but it's beautiful here and we love it. All right, so before we dive in, just a couple more things I wanted to mention. It's around a really common question that we get during our webinars is where can you learn more about the topics that we cover here? I'll be honest, we are going to fly through this hour. Again, I said I talk fast and we've got a lot of information to cover. So if you ever feel like you need more time to sit with any of the topics that we covered today or any of the tactics that I mentioned, then I highly recommend that you navigate over to Local IQ or WordStream websites. We cover everything in these webinars in depth over there, as well as on social media, so be sure to follow us there. We share out notifications for future events, so if you want to join more webinars like this in the future, definitely be sure to follow us there and turn on your post notifications. So we also share out platform updates, interesting articles, and really anything that an advertiser or a business owner would need to be aware of with the industry. So you can find both Local IQ and WordStream on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, X, and YouTube. All right, pop quiz time. So if you have attended any of our webinars in the past, you know I really love to keep everybody on their toes. So go find that question box again if you haven't found it already, and let me know if you could instantly improve one social media metric with AI, what would that be? So think about your hopes and your dreams. What's that one social media thing that you wish you could improve if you could just get out your magic wand? And I'll call out some of the responses as they come in, but I love to get a quick pulse check on everyone, how everyone's feeling about the topic, how they're feeling about where they are with their advertising right now. There's a lot of different things that AI can help with. And so for us, I want to get a better understanding of what's your pain point right now with your social. What's that metric, that number, that thing that you really are looking for AI to help with? Okay, so I see a ton of responses coming in. We're going to go ahead and get started. Engagement, huge. I've got several people talking about engagement, and so we'll talk about that. Conversion rates, consistency. I've got some good stuff for you, Michelle. We've got some consistency information. When and who to post to. Goodness, when to post is a whole art in itself. And so we'll talk a little bit about that. Gaining followers, increasing engagement, post interactions, what to do with that. Applications on our positions. All right, so we've got some hiring and recruitment in the chat today. Click-throughs, engagement, phone calls, higher engagement rate, gaining more views. All right. People who are using AI a lot, and so they're wanting to maybe up their game a little bit, elevate what they're doing. This is perfect for you. You're going to like this content to get you started. Audience targeting, we have a whole section about that. Okay, I see a ton of responses. Everyone's coming in. I wish I could call out everybody. You probably noticed as I was rolling through some of these responses, everybody had maybe a similar issue. Maybe we had some of the same things, but everyone maybe also had a slightly different take or a different perspective on why they wanted to increase this metric or solve this issue. And I think that really speaks to the fact that each business and each platform is unique. And so the needs and the goals are going to be unique. For your business, this means your teams, your bandwidth, your resources, they're all going to be different. So we're going to go through a ton of information today on this topic. A lot of it we're going to be able to touch on some of the things that you mentioned in the chat. And so I want you to be thinking about how this can apply to your specific business and your unique situation. Only you know your situation better than anybody. And so we're going to run through some tips and tactics and statistics that are going to help sort of get your brain going around how to problem solve those things. But at the end of the day, everyone's going to have a different experience. So all this information is going to mean something different for everyone involved. Okay, so now everyone's joined and settled in. Let's go over what we have in store today. I sort of talked a little bit about it as you guys were letting me know your metrics. First up, we are going to look at why creating a social media strategy is beneficial for your business. I think before we jump into AI and the what we're going to do, we need to look at the how and the why first so that we have those guiding principles. So we'll talk about that for just a second. Then we're going to go into the use of AI in marketing in general, and then how you can use AI to help generate real leads from social media. All right, let's buckle up. Let's jump in. So why a social media strategy matters. Social media is so prevalent and popular, and because of this, creating a strategy for how to show up on these platforms is crucial. So for a business, this is no longer a casual area where you can wing it. And I'm sure a lot of you are sitting on the other side of the screen nodding because you understand the importance of it. That's why you're here today. So nearly 90% of the US population is on social media. 90% of the US is on some form of social media. And a third of that huge number regularly uses it to discover new products, services, and brands. And I am one of those 1/3. That is how I do most of my shopping is through social media. So sometimes if you're like me, I need a little bit more motivation to do something other than because I should. So I know a lot of you were nodding and you understood the importance of being on social. But for those of you who are out there like me and you're on there, but maybe you really don't want to be, it's not your passion, it's not something that you love to do, maybe here's a few benefits of why you should be doing it, all right? So it keeps your work focused on your goals, especially if you have a team of multiple people who are going to be working on your social or in your business. Have fun, share meaningful messages, but remember your primary purpose while you're working on your social media. That is, like I said, going to be your guiding principle in everything that you do. Your strategy is what you're going to refer to repeatedly to remind you and your team members of the business objectives you set. It's going to keep you and your team grounded in the plan that you made to be able to grow to the next level. And then somebody mentioned consistency in the question box. A strategy is what can help keep you consistent. If you have a strategy, then you are going to be able to not only maintain a consistency with posting, but you're also going to be able to maintain consistency in your brand, your tone, your voice, and your visuals as they come across on social media. It's really easy to get distracted with the latest trend or topic of how people are getting found on social, but that may not line up with what you want to get out of it. And so we don't want to waste our time doing something that doesn't meet our goals. So that's where a strategy really comes in handy. So then a strategy also backs up your decisions with data. You're going to learn what works best as you gather all this feedback from your followers. Specifically, you're going to see which type of content they love, when you should post. We had people asking about that. Your audience is going to start helping you understand that as you lay out your strategy. And then how you want to engage with replies and comments. Then lastly, having a strategy and a plan that you constantly go back to is going to prevent a lot of missteps. So for some of us, we're all probably really glad social media wasn't around when we were in college or when we were growing up. And that's because people make mistakes, but the internet will always remember. So a strategy can help you navigate away from those areas that may be a little tricky, because nobody wants to deal with a social media crisis. Nobody has time for that during the day. So a strategy is going to act like your set of guidelines. It's going to be your bumper guards if you're bowling, to help keep anyone who posts on your brand's behalf to maintain the same standards. Again, if you're in the weeds doing it, it's a good guiding principle for you. But if you have a team of people, then you want to give them some guardrails. Are you political in your messaging? What topics do you want to focus on? How do you react to competitors? All of that can be included in the strategy and help guide how you're responding. So now that we understand why we need a strategy and the benefits of it, we're all motivated to get our strategy docs out. Let's talk about infusing AI into the strategy and the execution. So first, let's take a step back and we're going to talk about AI in marketing in general. So you can see here, 57% of business owners are using AI on any part of their marketing. So the reason that you need to do the same is simple. It's because everyone else is. Your competitors are out there doing it. Nearly 60% of small business owners are using AI for their social marketing. And if you look at how they're using AI, it's predominantly around social media management, 39%, and they're doing it in order to save time, 61%. So I'm sure we all sort of feel that in our bones. We want to save time in doing some of these tasks. AI helps social media marketers create copy and content. It engages with your followers. You can post more frequently. We'll talk about that. Grow new channels, and you can do it in a strategic way. And then there's so much more. And if your competitors are doing all of this, and then they're doing it more efficiently, you absolutely want to be doing it too. So as a result of using AI, businesses are saving time. And so this is something that's an option for you on a lot of these digital marketing tactics. So with that, they're seeing a decrease in their costs and an increase in productivity. So if any of these are your current challenges for your business or your social media strategy in general, then AI is going to be a really good solution for you. All right, so 54% of businesses have reported increased cost savings and efficiency because of AI implementation. And there are a million reasons for this based on how you use AI. There's a ton of different ways, but just one example is, let's say you're using AI prompts to help you with copy creation or brainstorming drafts, or you're creating outlines. AI is going to generate those responses for you in real time. And then this lets you or your community manager focus on strategy rather than some of those tedious tasks. And if you're looking for lead generation help, which you are, look no further than AI. AI algorithms can increase leads by as much as 50% by helping you manage and nurture those leads. It helps you do that by creating email content, automating email follow-ups, but then a whole lot more. So one example of this at Local IQ, how we sort of live this out, is something that we call Dash SMS Agent. Some of you might be familiar with it, but this allows you to reply to prospects and customers as a text message in real time. So this really increases the chance of converting that lead into a customer, which is where that 50% stat would come from. So another great use of AI for lead development is email follow-up. We talked about that just a second ago. You can use AI to tag leads in email nurture sequences. So then this will move your prospects down the funnel until they end up converting. This allows you to be in this constant state of lead follow-up, and then that sort of frees your brain up to focus on other things. So later on, we're going to go over more specifics of how AI can help increase your lead volume. And then, of course, the most common use of AI in marketing is the production of various types of content. And I saw some of you put in the question box, that's kind of why you're here. Like, that's the thing that you want to improve. So what this means is that you are using AI to help build up what you're putting out into the world. And this is probably what everybody typically thinks of when they first think of using AI for marketing. 73% of businesses are doing the same thing, and they're using it for everything from email copy to creation of marketing collateral. I personally hate to start from scratch. So a blank page is kind of my worst enemy. So if you're like me, that's where AI is perfect. It gives you a starting point for all that email nurture copy. And then what you can do is go in and tweak it to make sense for your industry, your business, your customers, whatever it may be. Another great content use for AI is chatbots. So we talked about the SMS agent just a second ago. So AI is perfect for producing chatbot scripts. So if you go to someone's website, that little window that pops up in the corner and is talking to you, that's typically an AI chatbot. But what that bot says to the consumer takes someone that has to write those scripts. And so AI is a really good tool to help do that. And so with the right prompts, you can set up a chatbot to collect information like a phone number and an email. You can direct the user to helpful information on your site, all with the goal to make sure that that lead gets whatever they need, and then they stay around to hopefully become a customer. Which brings us to how you can leverage AI for social lead generation. So we saw that AI can increase lead gen, and then part of that is done through content creation. But how else would you use AI to bring in quality leads from social specifically? So let's look at that. All right, so first up is analyzing social media engagement, basically analyzing the data. AI can help you look at your account's historical data and then the platform's trends, and then help recommend, we were asking earlier, the best times to post, the best days to post, the ideal number of posts per week. Post times are really critical for quality lead generation because it is all about getting your message in front of your audience when you know they're online and engaged. So speaking of engagement, the earlier you post, the better. Timing for your post at the earliest engagement is really important because this is going to boost overall engagement. And the reason for that is because the faster that you can get engagement on a post, that's more likely that the algorithm is going to then prioritize your post for more users throughout the day and even days later. If you'll catch yourself scrolling on Instagram, sometimes my feed will show me things from a couple of days ago. It's not about immediacy, it's about engagement. So you can also use AI tools to help analyze social media reports. So you can understand what types of social are performing best. You have different types of posts. So you've got video, you got photo, you have just text. The analyzing that sort of information, AI can help you figure out which one your audience likes best. And then, for example, if you're a Local IQ customer, that kind of goes back to our Dash. So AI-powered analytics are built into our platform so that you are able to see in the reporting directly the trends that's happening. So you're not having to like put it into an AI tool and then have it spit something out. So you can monitor your performance, you can track metrics, and then identify the patterns in engagement or even your follower demographics. So it's really cool, and it gives you a ton of insight into what you need to do to improve or maybe tweak your strategy. All right, again, if you are like me and you hate starting from scratch, then this is for you. AI tools can help you create social posts, like we said earlier, that you can edit and then customize before you schedule it to go out. So again, like I said earlier, personalization goes a long way in catching your audience's attention and then convincing them to engage. And AI is how you can achieve that at scale. So you can see here, this example is for a long form LinkedIn post. It's likely not going to be perfect as is. So you can't just copy and paste it and then go on about your day. But this is a really fantastic starting place to spark new ideas. Can you imagine sitting down to a blank page and trying to put all of this together yourself? So it's always easier to edit than it is to create something net new. And then because it's hard to fill that social media calendar with completely new on-brand ideas, I mean, every day requires a couple of different posts, then AI provides a really great solution to create content that's tailored to your industry and then sort of your niche for targeting. It can give you all of those ideas and then help you get started on it. And then here's a pro tip. If you are making the most of your social media content, then what you need to do is, as you are personalizing this content, start looking for times that you can refresh and repackage old content in new ways. So one way you can do that is to tailor the material for certain platforms. Like I said earlier, LinkedIn, you're going to want posts to be longer and more copy heavy, but on Instagram, you want a carousel or maybe a really straightforward caption. So you could go into AI and say, turn this LinkedIn copy into something for Instagram, and it'll go ahead and get you started. You can turn stats from any reports that you have produced into graphics for the carousel post, and then you'll get that really compelling personalized summary that you can then share on LinkedIn. All right, third is social listening. So you cannot be everywhere your business is mentioned online, and that's for better or for worse. Sometimes we would say it's for better. But AI can help you keep an ear out for what's happening online with your company. So you can monitor social media for brand mentions. You can get feedback, potential sales opportunities, all by using a social listening tool. And this can be really valuable when it comes to building an online community or when you're looking at engaging with your existing and potential customers and then addressing customer service issues. It's like being able to overhear a conversation about your company and then do something about it. So for example, someone may complain about your business in a social media post, but they don't tag you. Using AI social listening tools, and you can just go to Google and Google AI social listening tools, and you'll be able to get a ton of different options. You can easily find that post that you weren't tagged in and then reach out to that user, because hopefully you want to address their concern. You want to provide a response to them, but even better, you want to provide a response that other people see and then they feel good about that interaction. So this helps you get in on the conversation. Like I said, you're overhearing something, but then you're able to actually take part in it. And that helps you preserve your online reputation. And then maybe you potentially are going to win back that customer that didn't have a great experience. So then you can also look at digital solutions that are designed specifically for social media management. So like for Local IQ, for example, we have a solution that can help you with the social listening part, the moderation, the commenting, the replies. And so it's all sort of packaged together, and it makes it easier for you to be able to establish and then maintain that organic social presence, which can be super time consuming. Because again, you can't be everywhere all at once. Now, any small business knows that generating leads can be an extremely manual and time-consuming process. I don't know that there's a part of marketing or owning a small business that cannot be time-consuming. But aside from creating and implementing lead gen campaigns, there's often a lot of follow-up and then back and forth involved in converting those leads into customers. I think about my own home services needs and the vendors that I interact with and how much we go back and forth. This is where AI can be really beneficial to automate a lot of those tasks. So one we've already covered is automating nurture sequences through email marketing. We talked about tagging and how you can have follow-ups scheduled so that you don't have to think about it. But you can also use AI to help with your lead generation ideas and campaigns. So for example, you can use AI to provide promotion ideas, uh, create copy for lead generation campaigns, and then automate other follow-up processes so you can then convert those leads to customers. And if you're wondering, what do I even put into AI to get it to do these things? We have a ton of resources on both of our blogs that are specific for AI prompts for various situations. So go check that out later. But a big trend that we are seeing for this year is AI agents. And so AI agents can be a surprisingly advanced option for you, and it can really make customers feel like they're chatting with an actual support rep from your business. It doesn't feel like they're chatting with a bot anymore. So for example, we have Dash, like I said, by Local IQ, and this helps your small business automate processes in a few different ways. You can see an example of it on the screen by summarizing, categorizing, and prioritizing leads. So that's just one example of what AI can do in this sort of generation and conversion area. Record and transcribe all your chats and your text conversations and even your calls so that you are able to pick out key components. Customer support conversations, follow up with leads using AI, proactive customer check-ins. You can present personalized offers and then even book appointments. So if you think about lead management throughout your everyday, these are the things that are likely falling through the cracks. They don't get done, or they don't get done the way that you would want them to be done. And then they're the things that you wish you had, multiple versions of you to be able to do. AI agents are where this is going to save you a ton of time. And it's really going to help accelerate that lead management process. All that follow up and back and forth takes time. And then ultimately help you convert more leads through these really human-like interactions. 10 out of 10 recommend adding this to your marketing strategy. And then number 5, identifying and targeting the right audience for your online ads is a really big challenge. It's a big old internet out there that you're trying to get to. So if you are running ads on social, AI ad targeting is what can really help you get to your ideal customers more effectively for better conversions, better ROI. A lot of ad platforms have created AI-powered targeting directly into the platform. So then there's other businesses like Local IQ where we've integrated AI technology into our ad management platform so that you can better manage all of your campaigns based on whatever's driving the best result or targeting the right audience. So if you're running ads directly on Facebook, you'll see a slew of targeting options to choose from. And then Facebook has built in technology to help make that targeting happen. And then on the flip side of that, if you're running your social with a partner like at Local IQ, then you're able to use AI that's part of the platform to run those ads across, let's say, multiple social sites. And then you can use even your search ads leads to create a lookalike audience that you can then target in your social campaigns. So everything's kind of feeding into each other. There's a ton of opportunities to use location and then demographic-based audience targeting, or even using machine learning tech to get the most out of your social ads targeting. You are not limited by just whatever is on the platform. There's a ton of different options for you, and AI is what can help you scale that. And then lastly, AI can help improve your social leads through creative support. We talked about content, and I think creative is a part of that content. The right images and video can make your marketing campaigns and your social posts really, really pop. But actually, creating these assets can be time consuming. I didn't go to school to be a graphic designer, so it can be really challenging if you don't have the right design support. If it's just you and you're trying to put all of this stuff together, it can be overwhelming. So luckily, thank goodness, there are AI tools that can help with that. And so for some AI tools, you can simply put in a text prompt and then the tool will generate an image for you. Other tools, you can provide maybe a little bit more info and you'll get a full video that's ready to upload. And then here on the slide, you can see a chart that outlines the various AI tools and then the types of content or the help that it provides. So those are really great assets to be able to look into. And so by generating these AI created images and videos, that opens up a whole new door for you to produce more visual content at scale. And we know that what is visual is what's going to pull people in and help with engagement. So look at things like Canva, OpenAI, ChatGPT, of course, that's the one that everybody thinks of, Copy.ai. There's video.io that helps with videos specifically. And if none of these really meet your need, I would encourage you to go and search for AI tools for video creation or image creation, and then you'll get a ton of options that may work better. So it's really important to note, though, that some of these tools are still in testing, and AI in general is still in testing. It's still all really new. So it may not generate the quality of image that you'd want or maybe need for your assets like display or print ads. So for example, there's a ton of AI tools that have had a hard time getting, for whatever reason, the human hand right. I'm sure we've seen some of those flubs where the hand is sort of like coming out of an arm that doesn't appear to be there. So it can be really creepy. But you can keep an eye on that stuff, go back, tweak it. It's still a really helpful tool for creative assets when you're looking at things like social posts, email banners, or anything else that's along those lines. All right, so I told you that time was going to fly by, right? And I hope it did. I hope we had a ton of really great information. Let's take a look at some of the highlights of what we covered. All right, so if we had to package everything up into 3 points, I think one of the most important things is AI isn't going anywhere. So becoming comfortable with AI and identifying the most effective ways to use it for your business is going to be really important. Get around in those tools, play around. You'll start wondering why you never used it earlier, and you'll discover the tools that are the most helpful for you. Then second, use the data. There are things like benchmarks reports. We have search and social ads benchmarks reports on WordStream and localiq.com. So you can take those and then combine those with your own account performance and goals. And then you can really start seeing what sort of decisions you can make. And you're not making those with a guess. You're making those with data, and you can feel really confident in them. And then thirdly, know your resources. I mentioned it a second ago about AI is not going anywhere. So between free and paid software, then you've got all these publishers and then digital marketing partners like LocalIQ. There is no lack of resources to try to integrate AI into your social strategy. I know AI can feel like this far off thing that is out of your reach for your company or your business, but really it's incredibly accessible. And so I would really encourage you to go and start digging into some of those tools that we discussed. All right, so this was a ton of information, and I'm sure you have a lot of questions. I saw some of them coming in. So what I'm going to do right now is launch a poll, and this is going to take over your screen. But what it's going to allow you to do is if you want to see how you can integrate AI into your social strategy, you want to look at including maybe some other platforms into your marketing mix, or maybe you just want to evaluate your overall social strategy, click yes to that poll, because I saw a ton of like really specific questions that were coming through, and this is going to be your chance to get some of those questions answered by one of our experts for something that is very specific and tailored to your business. So I'm going to leave that poll up. That, like I said, it's going to take over your whole screen. It's going to stay there for the remainder of the Q&A, because what we're going to do is switch over to, this is basically the audio portion of the webinar. So once you answer that poll, sit back, relax, and then listen into the Q&A. I'm going to start scrolling through some of the questions. And if you haven't put your question into the question box, I would encourage you to do that. I'm going to go through and pick some in the little bit of time that we have left, and we're going to talk through what some of these options are. All right, so I saw somebody ask about the names of the tools. So we'll send these slides and this recording out later today. So you'll be able to see that. But in there, we had a slide where we had a chart where it talked about the different options. So like I said, ChatGPT is, I think, the one that most people think of immediately when they're thinking of a tool. But then there's a lot of different options for videos. And then, like I said, AI is sort of integrated into a lot of platforms. So Canva now has an AI option. And then there's also options for AI built into third parties like Local IQ. So it can feel overwhelming, especially when you go and you Google and you're just kind of like, I don't have time for this. I've got to go, to someone's house and fix their AC. Then that's when reaching out, clicking yes to that poll is going to be really helpful because we can sort of narrow that focus for you and tell you where you need to be looking. Okay, so then I see some questions around generating leads with marketing and if AI ads are worth it for the price and the budget. And so what I would say is evaluate how AI is being used and in what ways you're paying. So there's a lot of free ways to use AI. We talked about it for content creation, video creation. If you need something maybe that's a little more elevated, there's a lot of options that provide a paid version that will give you more freedom and flexibility. But I would say that because the technology itself provides such a value in how it's used, the ROI and the amount of lead generation that's going to come from that is going to well exceed any price. So if I think about a Local IQ and our own customers, for example, especially for social, because that's what we're here to talk about today, we have social ads technology that puts your ads on multiple platforms and it uses AI to move the budget around based on engagement and then based on the platform that's going to get you the best leads for the best budget. And it does those two things at the same time without anybody having to touch it. And so that is where you're really going to see the value of incorporating AI into not just your social strategy, but your marketing strategy in general. I think we all want to be able to cater to our individual audiences and we want to be able to maybe dig in and make some of these decisions. But at the end of the day, if you have a technology and then an expert behind the wheel that can advise you and help you work through those things, and then it frees you up for other options, more idea generation, then that's an opportunity and that's an ROI that it's kind of hard to put a value on. So I see, let's go through a couple of other questions. All right, I see a question about using a list of customers with either Local IQ or a third party in general. Yes, there is AI and social strategy, but also just digital marketing options available where we can take your own list of customers and then retarget them using display. We can then retarget them using social, create lookalike audiences. There's a ton of different options in being able to use your own customer list. So if you have a CRM, it's wonderful to be able to take that data and infuse it into your larger strategy and how you're going to go about it, but not just the decisions that you make, but then how you run those ads can be fueled by who you know runs with you. Your customers are your target audience, so they're the best resource to use for that. All right, so let's through some other questions. I think we've got time. I see a bunch coming through. So if you haven't put yours in yet, go ahead and do that now. And then if you're hearing some of this and you're wanting some more additional information about your company specifically, go ahead and click yes to that poll so that you can speak with someone and get those questions answered one-to-one and then maybe talk through something specific for your business. So I see questions about hashtags and emojis and the effect of that on social. What I would say there is social is so visual and there's a lot that crowds your feed. So think about your experience on social from a personal standpoint. What catches your eye? For me, it's the images, it's the videos. And then if I see emojis, I'm going to stop and that gives me a better idea of the personality of the brand and then what I'm about to interact with. So it has a huge impact on how you use it in your social post, how you use it in your videos, what you use in your videos. So I really encourage you to lean into the visual aspect. Hashtags are still a good resource to be able to plug you into searches. A lot of social platforms are essentially search platforms at this point. And so people are going to be looking for certain topics. And so you want your post to be able to be aligned with that topic so that as people are searching, you're way more likely to show up. And those are decisions and things that we can help you talk through. When it makes sense to do it, what's overkill, what are the right hashtags. We do have resources on our website actually where we produce seasonal hashtags and then hashtags for certain businesses that make the most sense. And that will help you plan out your post. And then you can pull in AI, help you create that content calendar. So you're not sitting there in front of the laptop every day trying to figure out what to do. All right, so let's go through just a couple more. I see some questions around targeting, where it goes to and who it goes to. So what I would encourage you to do is there's a lot of options directly into social platforms where you can target, but then you also have the ability to control who an email goes to, when it goes to, how it gets delivered to them through third parties like Local IQ as well. And so those are all things that we can talk through with you if you want to click yes to that poll and speak to someone, because there's a lot of decisions that can be made that's based on your industry. We have a really cool access to a targeted email tool, and you can select various criteria on those criteria. Everything from understanding if a veteran is in the home to if grandparents are in the home, what their social interests are like, what sort of hobbies they have. And that's what's really neat and able to get you to where you can target more people. So you're not just blasting out an email to everybody, but you're using your resources wisely. And so if any of that sounds interesting to you, you can talk to someone and they can show you what that tool looks like and how it plays out. So that is all of our time today. I see questions still coming through, and so I'm really glad that everybody is engaged. But I would say if I didn't get to your question today, go ahead and answer yes to the poll, and we will get someone to follow up with you. Thank you to everyone who hung in with me at the beginning for all of our audio-visual issues. I felt like we were all in it together. And we will have this sent out to you later on today, the recording and the slides, and we hope to see you on the next webinar. Thank you so much for joining.